Reading this email this week that came across the news desk, a local podcast going big. Canadian politics is boring. Joins the Acast Creator Network, and we just happen to be joined by co-host Rhys Waters and Jesse Harley. As you guys celebrate 2 years of podcasts, how many podcasts is this? Happy birthday, Rhys. We'll start with you.
Thank you. Yeah, we're rushing towards 200 episodes in 2 years, which is, I mean, it was a lot of work, but it feels like it was worth it.
Mainly for you.
Yeah, mainly for me. Yeah, Jesse just turns up. So,
and Jesse, Rhys was telling me that you're the one who hates politics. He actually enjoys politics. So how does this kind of union mesh together, and how'd you guys all start?
Oh, God. I like telling this story because it is kind of funny. But so Rhys and I met a number of years ago, not that, like 4 years ago now, something like that.
Yeah,
and we
4 years ago.
We got along right away. We became friends and we realized we had a very similar sense of humor. And Rhys kept messaging me saying, let's start a podcast. And he would have all these great podcast ideas. And every time he would come up with one, he'd be like, let's do one, Jesse. And I'm like, yes, let's do it, Rhys. Nothing would happen. And that happened about 6 or 7 times until finally he messaged me and he said, Jesse, I really want to do a Canadian satirical podcast about Canadian politics. A podcast about satirical Canadian politics. And I'm like, no, Canadian politics is boring. I don't want to do that. And he thought that was hilarious. And he pushed and he pushed and he pushed. He's like, no, let's do it. I'll teach you and I'll force you to learn something you hate. I'm like, no, I really, really don't want to do it. And he wouldn't let up. And here we are.
Many episodes later, I was just kind of flicking through some of the episodes too, and there's like, not only did cover the federal election last year, there's a whole ton of episodes on that, but there's also kind of odd stories like Cucumber Gate. I know I'm from Newfoundland and Labrador, so that kind of came to my attention from the late 80s. So how do you kind of determine where you should go based on each episode, Rhys?
I think it's finding those stories that people don't barely remember. Like, I'm completely new to Canadian politics. So for me, I love going down those rabbit holes where you find those things, scandals from the 80s or the 50s, or just weird stories that you wouldn't expect happened, and then sharing them with people. I think it just kind of like is a mild obsession with like digging a little bit and finding things that I'm like, I can't believe that happened. I can't believe no one remembers it and is still isn't talking about this anymore. So I think that's usually it, is trying to dig deep and find those kind of little nuggets that you think people might enjoy and that Jesse can just laugh to and respond to. Typically.
I keep Rhys on his toes too, because I genuinely don't like this stuff. And so like now and then I'll find him trying to just educate me about something important. And I'm like, no, man, it's got to be, you lost me already. It's got to be someone on fire or Bigfoot or space aliens or something. And like 2 years later, I'm still catching them on it. Like, nope, stop trying to educate me. Entertain me instead.
I'm running out of time. I want to talk about the Acast Creator Network, the significance of joining that. Who wants to take that one?
Rhys, how about you take that one?
Okay. So yeah, it's really exciting. Acast obviously like started in Sweden, one of the first kind of revolutionary companies to kind of really monetize and add ads to podcasts. And the Creator Network is really cool. It's going to allow us to kind of reach new audiences. And we've been on there like a week, and already you can see that we're getting new listeners in other countries. And yeah, it's really exciting to be partnering with like a global kind of podcasting organization. So
it is pretty exciting. Yeah.
Still feel like a fraud. It's just a small podcast from Halifax.
Before we go, I do have a message to our Premier Tim Houston, if that's okay.
Oh, go ahead. The floor is yours.
Yeah. I just, Premier Tim Houston, I just wanted to congratulate you for Nova Scotia having, drumroll please,
I know where you're going.
Number one COVID infection rate per capita in all of North America. Congratulations, buddy. We did it. You should feel really proud. I think you and your friends should like have a large party in a small closed off area.
It was very insincere. Congratulations.
So I guess you're actually for bringing back some of the mandates and things, Jesse.
We should never have gotten rid of them, but that's for another time, I think. Yeah, I mean, like, you know, we've got our deaths have skyrocketed. Like sickness is crazy high. But hey, we got jobs, so that's the most important thing, right? Is the economy over life.
Which is one of the questions I've always wanted to know through all this is who calls the shots behind the scenes? Is it the premier or is it public health? And it very clearly now feels like it's the politician who calls the shots when you look at the previous government and then you look at some of the decisions of this government.
I mean, it's lobbyists. you know.
I'd say we were listening to, I think it was Dr. Strang at the floor, and that's shifted. I agree with
Yes.
that. I'd say that it was purely based on health advice, and now it's shifted to what's going to make, what do people saying on Twitter? That's never a good way to make public health decisions. So.
Yeah, we'll see where we go from here. That's for sure. But where do you guys go from here with the podcast? What happens next?
I think as the world opens, we'd like to do more appearances in person, like live shows. Maybe we've got a crazy idea to do walk-in tours around Canadian cities talking about history. So,
I think that'd be very funny.
So we'll see where that goes.
Jesse, you anything else you'd like to add?
No, I think I've ranted in your guys' faces long enough. Thanks for having us on your show, man. This has been great.
Yeah, no worries. I mean, I'd love if election time comes around or something. This would be a kind of a cool panel, we get that kind of attention.
Well,
yeah, we'd love to.
We'd love to. That'd be really, really fun. Yeah,
it'd be cool. It may be boring, but there's always something to talk about when it comes to politics. There's no doubt about that, as you guys have proven for almost 200 episodes.
Oh, God, it's a bit 200. Oh, jeez.
Rhys Waters and Jesse Harley, they are the hosts of Canadian Politics is Boring, and you can find it now wherever you consume your podcasts. We're getting the break. Come back with Check of Global News Morning. We'll probably talk about politics over on the news desk right after this. Good morning.
Why are you dancing?
Not. They usually put music over that.